Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Oil Painting with John Arctic Fine Art. Stick around and see how I paint this step by step in real time. I'll see you in a bit. Hello everybody, and welcome to another exciting oil painting video. I am John, your humble host, with a weird voice today. My wife and I are getting over the flu we've had for several days, and I'm going to get through this as best I can, so if my voice is a little off, I apologize. We have our normal 16 by 20 stretch cotton canvas from Blick. We still have our parade of mishmash oil colors. They're all good paints. They're just older paints that I've had laying around, so I want to just use them up. And that's part of it. You know, you don't have to waste paint. The other part of it is, too, I like to demonstrate, you know, as we do our videos, that you don't have to have all the same paints when you're doing a painting. You need all the same type of paint as far as oil or acrylic or watercolor. But, you know, if you have a couple of different brands of oil paint, it doesn't matter. These are a mixture of Georgian and still a few Daniel Smith water mixable. And they go together really well. They're light, fast, they're permanent. They're great paint. So we've got our nice little 1.5 inch brush. Got a little cup of medium, and we're going to go. Now, there's one thing I do want to go over with you today a little bit that I haven't done before. I'm trying cerulean blue today because I'm out of French ultramarine for the old colors. And just for the heck of it, I wanted to try cerulean, which is a lighter blue. I don't know, maybe a little more of a sky bluish color, but it's definitely lighter than the French ultramarine I prefer. So we'll see how that looks. And the other thing too, I'm going to tell you about, I'm almost a little ashamed, but I started for the first time, I tried, oh heck, what's the name of it? The Masters Brush Cleaner. Let me put my brush down real quick. This stuff. Just for the heck of it. I wanted to see. A lot of people on YouTube and everywhere else raved about how great it is. And it gets the brushes great as far as clean. And it keeps the bristles real nice and everything else. I've been using it for about a week now. So far, they may be right. My bristles are coming out really good afterwards. I clean it with my... I'm using Gamsol now instead of my Bristle Magic because the Bristle Magic has its own conditioner for the bristles, and I didn't want to mix the two up. So I'm using Gamsol, which is still has a slight petroleum product in it, but as far as any mineral spirits out there, odorless and stuff, it's some of the safest stuff out there. So my studio, when I'm using that, isn't technically green 100%, but it's still close. So you clean the brushes with that, then you rinse them off to get your bristles wet. Put them in that soap thing or whatever the heck it is for that brush cleaner. Kind of squish it around on the bristles. Rinse them off in your hand. Oh, they look beautiful. They look absolutely beautiful. And I don't know the long term, but I'm going to continue to use it. That's what I do know. I'm going to continue to use it. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Today, I think I'm going to do, I don't know, I don't feel like mountains today. I don't know why. I might put some rocks in, but I don't know. Mountains just aren't. I'm not feeling mountains today. Trying to feel my nose off his damn sinuses. Cough and all that other neat stuff. I haven't been sick. My wife and I both. We haven't been sick in long ass time. Been at least, I don't know. With the fever, been at least a couple of years each. So we've been fortunate, but damn, that's hit us both. So I keep telling her she gave it to me, so I don't want to hear any bullshit. She gave it to me. She got it from somebody where she works. She gave it to me, and that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. I'm sticking to my story, and that's what I'm sticking to. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here yet. I'm thinking that might be a waterfall. Not sure. Okay, so And my Viridian, I'm gonna put a little violet in there and a little burnt sienna. I'm gonna make it real dark. I'm gonna make it my waterfall to start with. Now, I'm probably not gonna make it that wide. I doubt it, but I'm just putting it in there. One of the beauties, beer drinking. God, I'm 58 years old. I think I can get over college beer drinking games, but it's still fun. How many times am I going to say, one of the things I love about oil painting, what's your over-under? Videos are usually about an hour, so I'm giving my over-under at least a dozen. So leave in the comments below how many times you're guessing. But try to do it in the beginning, okay? I don't want to see it at 58 minutes that you take a guess. I mean, have some guts and make your guess in the first 10 minutes. So that's one. One of the things I love about oil painting, especially the way we do it here with all this loose stuff, you don't have to commit to anything. I know I've said that before, but I want to really emphasize that. You don't have to commit to anything. It's still just, you see, it comes off. It's no big deal. You're not using anything opaque. You're not using anything final. You're not using any of that stuff. You're just laying stuff down and making a mess on your hand like I just did. Alrighty. There you go. I'm going to put the bottom of the waterfall in. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, since I don't have a deep French ultramarine, which I actually do, I just don't have it in the colors I'm using here. I have it in my normal studio stuff, which I still may, I'm not going to bring out yet. When I can move more of them, when I can use more of them at the same time, I will. There, put that down. But I'm going to make there's so damn much green trees everywhere that it's going to have to be green anyway. So, and you're going to start seeing the blue come in a little bit. Right on cue, there's some blue. And when I hit it with the opaque white, it's really going to look nice too. And let's slant that off. And I'm just enjoying myself here. I'm not sure what I'm looking at yet. Okay, this is definitely going to be land here. Okay, so that's no problem. We got our land here. I didn't want the trees all the way up to the water. I usually don't do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have this water that's feeding this visible behind here or not. That's kind of what's going through my head yet. That and all the damn Mucinex crap I'm taking. That's what's going through my head. I'm a very bad patient. I don't like being sick. And nobody does, but like I said, it doesn't happen that often. So when it does, it's like, just annoying. So anyway, I'm going to stop whining because it's just going to piss you off and me. Okay. We're going like that. Okay. Let me step back and see if I can see this anywhere. Okay. I do got to bring this over. It just looks like an awkward, uneven slant. I'm going to bring the land up just a little bit more. I'm going to balance that out. Now, I know I've told you this before, or maybe I haven't, I don't know. But while you're doing your painting, regardless of the size, get in the habit of every few minutes, several minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, however, you know, if it's going to be an hour painting, try to do it like 6 or 7 times. Step back several feet. Just kind of get a better perspective. When you're really up on it like this, it's a totally different perspective than back. They say that most viewing, and I think the museums kind of follow that, subscribe to that theory also, 6 to 8 feet, and that's kind of where the railings are, or the little rope fences between you and the paintings and museums. Usually about 6 to 8 feet. And that's the ideal viewing distance. So do that just to get a really good perspective and see where you're at. Okay, so right now this is not coming to me at all. I don't know what I'm doing, and I have no idea where this painting is going. So I'm going to go with the sky. I'm wiping my brush off. I'm not cleaning it. And I'm going to go straight into my cerulean only at the moment. A little too thick there. There we go. Just get it on the top. And this is the only cerulean I'm going to put for the sky. The rest of it is going to be white. So it's going to make it gradually lighter as it goes down. We're also going to do what we normally do and mix it with our green. So it ought to be a real pretty sky. Okay, now the only thing you do want to do, I got a lot of remnants of the cerulean on there. And this is actually a darker cerulean than I've seen in other colors. The cerulean in my normal Griffin Alkyd paint is not quite as dark as that. So this might actually work out really well for the water. And as you can tell, it's actually not a bad sky color. Okay. Actually, I like that. Kind of like almost a slight grayish to the blue. A little bit of a gray blue type of thing. I'm gonna go right down in here. The tree line is probably gonna be a lot thicker to justify the green water, but that's just what I got at the moment. But you think about it, I'm gonna be putting green on blue, which you need blue to make green, so it's gonna work out perfectly well. Excuse me. So that won't be an issue at all. It'll actually go together well. And I think I figured out what I'm gonna do here. I'm not gonna have any backwater. I'm gonna bring the sky up, and then I'm not even gonna bring the sky all the way down, bring it most of the way down. And then I'm gonna have trees coming up. So it's just gonna look like it's coming out of the forest. The feeder river is behind it, to the right, left, whatever. It's up to the viewer. I honestly don't give a shit. There's a feeder river of something somewhere. That's all you gotta know. And ironically too, your viewers, they're gonna make up their own mind anyway. So even if you have something designed where this is this, everybody sees things differently. Everybody has their own perspective. So what you may see and account for in paint may not be how your viewers interpret it. And that's actually number 2. One of the things I love about oil painting. We're only at 2, so I'm doing good. Didn't do it all the way yet. Put that down there like that. Just gonna level it off. There we go. Okay, so got a lot of thick paint down here now. Well, actually not a lot, but still a decent amount. Just wipe it off really good. Pinch those bristles. Now you got a dirty brush, but it doesn't have the real thick stuff in it. There we go. Get those stray hairs out. I'll just take the crisscross strokes and blend this out. Most of the strokes that I did, because of the way the tree line is, were vertical. And now I'm just gonna make it to where it's a lot softer. Bring it all the way down into the tree line. And there's a lot of this sky that's gonna be covered with more trees and stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna put clouds in it or not. I kind of like the different values. There's like 3 or 4 different values of blue in there. And I kind of like the way that's shaping up by itself. So I might end up doing, actually I'm not gonna might at all, I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm gonna take what they call a Hakey brush, which is one of the biggest pain in the neck brushes you can ever use, but it's also a very good brush to blend a little bit. The reason it's a pain is the bristles are really soft. And a Hakey is used a lot in first layers of acrylics, and it's used a lot in watercolor. What people that use it for in oils is to blend and get brush strokes out to make an area really super smooth, almost airbrush-like. The problem is, like I said, because the oil paint is thicker, it'll grab the bristles and it'll pull them out. So you got a lot of tweezers to do. You don't want to really use heavy pressure, medium to light, and you'll see, you can hear I'm barely touching it, okay? Just enough to graze it. And what I'm doing is I'm dispersing the paint. I'm just smoothing it out and getting all the brush strokes out. I love brush strokes in a lot of things, but every once in a while I want a smooth sky. There we go. Barely touching it. I've got one here that probably doesn't even matter because it's going to be stuck with foliage, but I'm going to get it out just in case. Yes, that is the bird of birds. It's my wife's bird. Don't let her ever say otherwise. She claims it's my bird. I tell her until I see the DNA test, it's not my bird. So don't let my wife mess with you. If she ever comes up in a video and says otherwise, she's lying. not taking responsibility for that nut bag. Okay, now I gotta make it fun of the bird, and now I got a bunch of hairs. See? Payback's the bitch. There we go. Get that out. One more. The reason I'm a little, usually if this was a little further down, I wouldn't be as particular. I don't know how high the trees are gonna go. So I don't want, you know, pieces of brush hair up. Now I do know, because of the way the sky is, I'm not going to put clouds in. I love the way it's dark here, real light here, medium dark. I like the way that get the nice variety. So I'm done with the hake and leave the sky as is. It's totally perfect for me, the way I like it. Now I'm going to take the brush that we started with, the 1.5 inch, and I'm going to reestablish all of our trees here to see what we're going to do. Okay, and I'm going to use our medium again, Viridian, Cerulean, and now I'm going to add it to this too. Now it's blending together, as you can see, with the sky, because I got color in the sky now, and that's fine. Eventually it's going to be very opaque and very dark. But in the meantime, I just want to see where my forest is. That's what I'm doing here. I'm seeing where the forest is. I'm going to make this go all the way over. There we go. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do, wipe off this brush, and I am going to take a little, well actually a lot of Viridian, get rid of the medium, we don't really need it right now. I'm going to go straight into dark Viridian. Not going to mix with anything else because I got this here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all these lines and opaque, really transparent stuff, and now we're going to start to go with opaque, and we're going to have foliage textures. So we're going to do our normal with the 1.5 inch brush. We're going to tap down foliage. One of the things that you're noticing is normally when I do this, I'm tapping those things down to where it's real faint and it blends in the background and we put stuff over it. We're not going to do that this time. We're going thick, my friends. We're going real opaque right now. And it's important when you're doing that, you don't get rid of the background completely and you have different heights. You don't want everything the same height and you don't want to get rid of the whole background. Now we are going to add some other stuff to it. We're not going to put a lot of like fir trees in front of it. We're going to leave it real close to what it's like. And this is just using really thick paint. Now technically I'm using just Viridian, but because of the way I'm tapping and blending with what's below it, I'm using Viridian, I'm using cerulean blue, I'm using titanium white, and a touch of burnt sienna. That's what this is. There we go. All the way down to the waterfall edge, the top of the waterfall's edge. There we go. It's a lot of fun doing this because when you go this opaque and this thick, this is like painting impasto. Now it's not dinner time. what's nice is you really get to see and feel that texture and that density. Okay, give you a perfect example. Okay, I'm gonna get my pointer brush. I hope you can see this. Let me see it back here from the video. Yeah, you might be able to see it. Okay, now let's go to the place we've done already. You got this, which you know is your background. That may or may not have something on it later. And then you got a next value darker here. And then a next value darker here. And the next value darker here. And then it gets lighter and lighter and darker and lighter. So you got the lights and darks all over the place. You also have thick paint, thin paint, thick, thin, medium, thick, thin. So you've got the difference in texture as well as the difference in value. And that is what's making a believable forest. And then for this, you don't put them in just haphazardly. You try to make shapes, okay? You see how we got little canopies here, a little narrower here. This is going up and then coming. So you want to have a nice variety. You don't want to just throw it down without thinking about it. And one of the things I like to do is I love thick paint. Something about thick oil paint on a landscape painting that it just takes your breath away, me anyway. And I just love the fact that, you know, it just, I don't know, it just has this feel to it that I love. And you thought I was going to say one of the things I love about oil painting. Nope, scratch it, still only 2. I'm behaving myself today. There we go. Okay, that looks really good. I enjoy that. Now, the other thing is too, because of the way it's set up and the thick and thin, the different values and everything else, you don't even have to put trunks in there. They're just assumed, as I can tell when I'm standing back at several feet, they're just assumed by the way these structures are coming out. Okay, the only thing I want to do is just make this one, there we go. Wanted that out just a little bit. It's a little too upright. There we go. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is wipe this brush off real well, because it's got a lot of paint on it. Okay. I'm thinking I'm going to do the waterfall next, so I got a good gauge of where I'm at. So, the waterfall, I have no idea. I know this is land. The water is here, land is here. I'll make a distinction sooner than later. And I may bring some trees down and cover the waterfall and have them on. I haven't decided yet. The way that I put the foliage on, excuse me, it doesn't matter. The waterfall is not going to be that big, that wide. But here's the thing. Number 3. One of the things I love about oil painting is you got an idea in your head. You put that idea down. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be precise. You don't need a fucking calculator or a slide rule to get exact measurements. Put down what you think. So I knew I wanted a waterfall somewhere around there. I had an idea it probably wasn't going to be that big. So now I'm going to take it, and I'm probably going to have the waterfall like this. And this will just be maybe a stone wall. Maybe I'll just keep trees going along it and make this just a real dense forest. It doesn't matter. But the point is, you've got options as you go. Now, because of how I went opaque and thick on the forest, that limits my options a lot. If I wanted to change that, I'd literally have to scrape it off and start over, which is fine. It's oil paint, it stays wet a while. No big deal. But this part, I don't have to worry about doing that because I put it on so thin to begin with. That's why I stress in the beginning, go thin, go loose, go Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville, all over the place, and then tighten it as you go. But when you start out, just have fun and let it happen, and then see what you got. Okay, so now let's do the water. Putting on a thick amount of paint because this painting is going to be a lot thicker than I expected. Most of my paintings have some impasto. You can probably see in the back here. I've got a decent amount. This one looks like it's going to have a little bit more than normal. There, boom. Now that is too thick. So I'm going to wipe that off. There we go. The reason I said too thick, I like to see, before you saw it was just solid white. I don't like that. Now you can see the blue and the black and everything else underneath it. That's what I was looking for. So I put a little too thick on to begin with. I'm just going to put a little bit of a water line in here just to get an idea where my water is. And I'll refine that as I go. Because I still have no idea what I'm doing here. There we go. Step back and see how that looks. Is that balanced or is that on? I think once I get this taken care of, we're good. Okay, so what I'm going to do for that, I'm going to take my dark color, which is Viridian, a little violet, which I usually don't do, but I found it. Burnt sienna, a little bit of Winsor Crimson, just dark. I'm going to continue this. The same thing over here. That was going to be land, but it's not anymore. Just going to make it, I don't know, I don't want to say foothills, but just rock formations. That's all I want. Need something to hold this puppy in. Here we go. Yeah, I can do that. And then what I'll do is I'll bring the trees down to there so it looks like the rocks are behind them. That will work. Now we have a game plan, Sigmund. Don't ask me why I said that. I'm not a big Sigmund Freud fan, but I am a Sigmund Freeman fan for MASH. And I just saw an anniversary special MASH. It's been on forever. I mean, unfortunately, so many of the cast are dead. But that was an awesome series. Sitcom, whatever the hell you want to call it. My wife took years, but she bought me the whole CD set. Like 11 seasons, 12 seasons. I don't even remember how many seasons it was, but it was an awesome show. And my favorite character was Colonel Flagg. Colonel Flagg was just the absolute best. I love Colonel Flagg. Edward Winter. Nobody could have played that part any better than him. Actually, the whole cast was awesome. Everybody from Radar to Charles to Hawkeye, Margaret, Frank. It's funny, too, because Frank was the biggest horse's ass in the world, and from all accounts, he was one of the nicest people in real life. So he had to really stretch it to play Frank that well. But the guy that played Colonel Flagg just hit that thing out of the park. Those are my favorite episodes. That was just the absolute. And judging by the demographics of my viewers, every one of you people has probably watched MASH more than once. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Who was your favorite character? Leave it in the comments below. Doesn't always have to be about painting or whatever. Just tell me, who do you like? Colonel Potter was awesome, but Colonel Flagg was just so freaking hilarious. I absolutely loved that guy. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to take a smaller brush. My 1-inch. Okay. Excuse me. That same dark color, forgive my voice, I'm just going to put this back in. And the reason I'm putting it back in is because I just went over it with the foliage. And I want to make sure that I just have the wall. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to make it a wall instead of just rock. So I'm going to use the palette knife, and now it's going to come down with some highlights. That's how I'm going to do it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, it's funny too, because in that show you saw the evolution of Margaret Houlihan. She was just bat crap crazy in the beginning, and then she became a real little girl, just like Pinocchio. By the end of it, she was an actual human being. Alan Alda's character, Hawkeye, was probably the same. Obnoxious know-it-all throughout the whole series, but he kept the series together. He never really evolved much, other than the lack of hair as he got older. Charles was a great addition. I always loved David Ogden Stiers. He was always a underrated actor, in my opinion. He played Charles wonderfully. Kleiner was actually funny as all get out. Father Mulcahy was good. BJ, yeah. Mike Farrell was fine. Trapper John, yeah. Radar was good. He excelled at what he did. But the best acting job ever, Carl Flagg. And I'm sticking to it, I don't care what you say. And that's not because I'm into anarchy, but I am into having a tough time catching my breath because I'm laughing so damn hard. And that's what he did to me every time he was on. Okay, now, the next thing we gotta do, I'm gonna put those highlights in later. I don't know where the hell my land is. So I'm gonna put that in right now. I don't know where the hell my land is. The way I got this going, I'm going to bring in the water under here. I might make a little bit of land there to bring some stuff up. I've got off center to the right. I'm going to put my land over here. Spread up a little bit more. I don't know that I want that much water, as much as I love water. Damn, I'm messy today. Getting paint all over the brush and everything. Every once in a while I get into one of my messy moods when I paint and it's like all over the place. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. I've been painting for a lot of years and I still haven't figured it out. Now, one of the things you might have guessed, keeping with the theme of today is thick paint. I'm putting this in one layer. I'm not doing the real thin stuff like I have in the back. I'm gonna go right up to here. I don't give a shit. Just doesn't feel right to have too much water. I mean, I'm gonna have a ton of water, don't get me wrong, but I don't want too much. I'll go like this. I think I know what I'm going to do now. I hope I didn't go too dark too fast. See, now this is one of the things that you screw up if you're not thinking clearly. And obviously I'm not thinking clearly today. So one of the things I did tell you in videos is when I make a screw up, I want to keep it on record. So this is not going to be land. Land's going to go like this. I'm going to have the water curl. So I got to get some thickness off of here. Wipe a little bit of it off. Come on, there we go. I went so dark that it's going to be tough to cover, but it doesn't matter. It's oil paint. It's still wet, so you can cover anything. And I am going to show you how. Only a couple of ladies and many gentlemen. Okay, now we're going to take our brush with our whatever on it. I'm going to go straight blue for right now, just for the moment. And you'll see the method to my madness later. I know this looks like absolute garbage. And at the moment, you're right, it does. This isn't going to stay that way. I just got to see where the water's going to be. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go that way. So now I'm going to go with my dark color. Bring that right into here. Straighten this out. There we go. Same dark color. Hold down. Straighten it out right here. Okay. Cerulean blue up the yazoo. Now, one of the things I'm doing, which I haven't been doing because there wasn't a need, is every time I'm laying in color, I'm wiping off the brush now. I'm not cleaning it, but I'm wiping it off. And the reason is, I don't want it, I'm going thick, don't get me wrong. That's what's actually going to help. Going thick too early helps screw it up, but it's also going to help save it. So now I'm going to go into more Viridian. I want to green it up a little bit. Okay, so, and that white isn't going to stay that way forever. So now what I'm going to do, this is how you fix an oops, I was stupid painting. No, I like that. Ay, 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 ay. Okay. So, lesson number 11114. Whatever. I don't know. I'm just talking out my ass here. I'm pissed off that I made a mistake, but I'm happy I did. Okay. When you're painting in general, especially acrylics and oils. Hang on. Excuse me. Okay. Painting in acrylics and oils, both of them are they're an opaque medium. Gouache is too, but it's still watercolor, but opaque watercolors. You could fix that screw up I made by not really liking the way things were. You can fix that, okay? When you're working on watercolors, unless you're really, really incredibly good, it's going to be tough. But since we're working in oil paints, you can fix stuff because you have opaque. You scrape off the real thick stuff, you wipe it off as best you can, and then you put whatever else you want on there over it. And then you improvise, you overcome, adapt. Yes, I love Clint Eastwood and Heartbreak Ridge. But it really is smart. It makes sense. Improvise, overcome, adapt. It wasn't what I wanted, so I made it what I wanted. Okay? Now, I'm going to use, which I haven't used in a while, and I normally don't use medium this far into a painting. Excuse me, but because I oopsed it over here, I want to get this a little bit darker to match this a little bit more. Doesn't have to be a lot. They are in two different planes. The trees aren't going to reflect as much down here with this stuff as it would be over here. So we're in the same row, but I want to clean up some stuff. So I'm going to use the cerulean, and I wanna get where I am with the shoreline. Okay, I want to do the shoreline the right way. There we go. And as you can see, everything I'm doing is horizontal strokes. Right here. There we go. This I'm going to leave alone. The whole theme of this, which was unintentional, but it ended up being that way, was thick impasto paint. This fits the theme, so I'm going to just go with it. Okay, so I'm going to use a fan brush here in a second, and I'm going to put in some of the waves and action and stuff like that. Basically, it's just going to be straight titanium white. That's we're going large anyway. Now we're going to go like this. See how that works. Yeah, a little less. I'm not gonna have stuff coming up here for flowers, so that won't matter. But I do need it thicker here. A little bit more cerulean in here. And now what I'm doing is I'm fussing with it to my liking. Right now, none of this has to do with any kind of technique, any kind of videos I've watched, any kind of rule of thumb. This is just to my taste. That's all I'm doing now. Okay. But we basically saved a major league screw up. Now I'm just gonna. Okay, it looks like swells and stuff, so that works. Oh, wow. Talk about a long way around the barn to get to a painting. Okay. I'm gonna need this one for something else. I'm gonna clean the brush. Actually, I got a couple of them I'm gonna clean real quick. In the meantime, I got some good news and I got some bad news for you, depending on what you like. If you're a football fan, the good news is NFL training camp start next week. The bad news is that's the beginning and the end of summer. I mean, granted, it's still only July, but it's still past the midway point of July. And the older I get, the more I like summer and the more I hate being cold in the winter. I do like seeing the NFL season come around. The winter doesn't bother me up until January 1st. So I don't care about a normal Midwestern winter up until January 1st. Once January 1st gets here, then I want 76 and sunny. Which obviously, living in the western burbs of Chicago, that doesn't happen, but I don't know what it was. Once I hit 40, I think, my body just started saying, you know, that 90 degrees wasn't all that bad, but damn, that 5 degrees sucks. So, my wife's the same way, so that actually helps. We're both together on that. One more brush, and then we'll hit the finale of the painting. Actually, the next part of the painting isn't going to be a brush, it's going to be a knife. Wow. This towel is very wet. I'm going to change it out real quick. Here we go. Always keep a supply of fresh towels around. Okay. So, what are we going to do next? We are going to use yellow ochre by itself. We're going to put in there we go. That was a little easier than normal. One of the few easy things in this painting today. Every once in a while, I mean, when you're painting just for fun, which I'm assuming most of you are, it doesn't matter. When you're painting to earn a living like I do, where you sell the paintings, you have to be a lot more precise. So there's a little bit more stress to it, but it's just part of the gig. You enjoy it, and everything else is a challenge, and it's great. But regardless of what your goal is, the more you do it, the easier it is. And the other part is overcoming obstacles. You're not going to have a perfect painting every time. And you're never going to have a painting go perfectly every time. You and I have been doing paintings together for a long time. There's always an area where it goes, uh-oh. One of the tricks to painting in any medium is learning how to fix your mistakes. And you know, that's a big part of it. Now, normally, I'm not going to leave it this jagged. But this whole painting is. So this whole painting is jagged, so I'm going to leave it that way. Just because that's the theme here. Now, I am going to have some lemon yellow in some of the trees and turning them into another Value green, but it's going to still be thick. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, right underneath. Just cleaning up the bottoms, that's all I'm doing. Something most people probably won't even catch, but it's just something for me. I've got a little bit of base here, and then slightly back, and then the little ledge starts. Again, it's something subtle that most people wouldn't catch, but for me, that just, I'm usually not, and you've seen it, where I'm crazy with detail. I'm not that hyper-realistic type of painter, but certain things that just, I want them to be right. Okay, now our dark color that we've been doing, go straight up. Excuse me. Thank God my cough has been really good today. Well, during the painting anyway. I'm doing a lot more talking than I have. And my throat's not too bad. this is gonna have a lot of white on it that I gotta overcome because I'm so damn thick. But that was intention. You just go over it a few times with the darker, and the darker will eventually prevail. But I don't want to cover the waterfall either. There we go. Okay. We're nearing the end, my friends. I hope this painting wasn't awkward for you. It was for me a little bit, but in a good way. You know, this big screw up here and the way it was able to turn out, I really enjoyed. So I hope that wasn't, you know, anything bad for you. Okay, now, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow ochre. And one of the things that you see me do is tap in grass like this. I do this a lot. But I'm going to put yellow ochre in, but I'm also going to put some lemon yellow in too. Yellow ochre is only going to be part of it. Do that on the bottom amount of grass too. I'm just going to make a variety. Okay, I don't want just beautiful yellow grass. And the other thing is too, I'm going to put some trees here. Some little shrubs or something to keep that in. So now I'll wipe this off. Go with my yellow. And when the yellow mixes with the dark underneath, you get a nice olive green here. Go. Take this dark here. There we go. One of the things you want to be careful of is when you have waterfalls, they always got to be contained. You can't just have it free flowing with nothing containing it, otherwise water's going to go all over the place, and probably in areas you didn't expect or want. So when you do a waterfall, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure you have rocks, land, trees, something that is going to keep it contained. There we go. Yeah, that's looking nice and rough, which is not the way it was when it started, but that's the way it ended up. I actually kind of like it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a nice orange. Lemon yellow and alizarin crimson. We're just going to put some stuff in here. A little more green on this side, a little brighter on the other side. Variety is key. You don't want everything the same everywhere. This one's going to have a lot more red. And I'm just kind of letting the brush dance by itself and kind of just hitting it where it looks like there should be some wildflowers. Okay. go with the dark color again. Just here and there. Up. There we go. Okay. So I'll clean that brush in a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to take my 1-inch. I got to get some more yellow out because I'm out of yellow from what I put on my palette. I'm going to tap this in, and I'm going to be liberal with the paint, but I'm still going to be firm when I'm tapping it because I don't want yellow. I just want green. I'll show what I mean. In a minute, I'll explain exactly what I'm doing. I just want to make sure I don't miss any areas. Some of you that have been painting with me for a while know what I'm doing here. And others that are just coming by possibly don't. There we go. Okay, basically what I'm doing is I got a little bit of burnt sienna, and this one, the lemon yellow is what we had to begin with. Now I'm using Cadmium Yellow Light Hue, which is a much more intense yellow. And then leave a little bit of the yellow here on the real tops where the sun's really going to hit it. And then as you're going down, you see how it gets darker and then lighter in some areas, but still these lights aren't as light as the top. Again, variation. You don't want everything the same, okay? And I'm actually, just for the heck of it, a couple things here that you can't even see, but I can. Okay, that is going to be it for the painting today. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I can deal with that. Medium impasto painting, nice waterfall, double waterfall actually, thick paint, and a lot of beautiful deep colors. Hope everybody had a great weekend and has a great work week, and I will see you next week for our next video on Sunday night. Have a great week.